Hello and welcome to the lecture series on principles of microeconomics. In my previous lecture, I have dealt with the law of diminishing marginal utility, and in my today's lecture, I will talk about one of the very important concepts as far as the cardinal utility analysis is concerned, or the condition for equilibrium in the cardinal utility analysis is concerned, and it is called as the law of equimarginal utility. So let's get started. So the principle of equimarginal utility is really important in understanding the equilibrium conditions under the Marshallian cardinal utility analysis. So let us now look at the statement of law of equimarginal utility. So the law of equimarginal utility states that the consumer will distribute his money income between two goods in such a way or such a fashion that the utility derived from the last rupee spent on each good is going to be equal. Here what I am saying is that the consumer, with his limited money income, he or she will distribute that money income between two goods in such a fashion that the utility which he or she is going to derive out of the last rupee spent on each good is going to be equal or similar. Now what I am effectively saying is that the consumer is in equilibrium in the marginal utility analysis when the marginal utility of money which he is trying to spend, or the marginal utility of money expenditure on each good, is going to be equal. That particularly means that the marginal utility of x to price of x ratio should be equal to marginal utility of y to price of y ratio, and this entirely should be equal to marginal utility of money from his money income which he or he is trying to spend on certain goods. In our case it was two goods. Okay, so this is what the law of equimarginal utility tries to say. Now this will make more sense when I come to the explanation of the law arithmetically, but what I am effectively trying to say is that whenever the consumer is trying to distribute his money income, he or she will do it in such a fashion that he or she will try to derive the utility from the last rupee spent on each good, and that utility is going to be more or less same. So that is what the law of equimarginal utility particularly states. Now he or she is going to try and strike this equilibrium or this condition. Now in some cases there will be this ratio will be greater than this ratio. That means there is one case wherein, let us assume that the marginal utility of x to price of x ratio is greater than marginal utility of y to price of y ratio. What will happen in such a case? Because the ideal condition is marginal utility of x to price of x should be equal to marginal utility of y to price of y, and this entire thing should be equal to marginal utility of money. But let us assume that there is a case wherein marginal utility of x to price of x ratio is greater than marginal utility of y to price of y ratio. In such a situation, the consumer will substitute good x for good y. Now the consumer will start substituting good x for good y, but what will happen if at all there is a substitution? Now this substitution, or a result of this substitution, is such that the marginal utility of x will start falling and the marginal utility of y will start increasing. Now the next question is, for how long the consumer is going to substitute good x for good y? The consumer is going to substitute good x for good y until there is an equality between these two. That means marginal utility of x to price of x should be equal to marginal utility of y to price of y. Now the next question which arises is that when this equality can be achieved. When this equality can be achieved, this equality can be achieved at different levels of expenditure per se. And how do you arrive at these different levels of expenditure? The solution for the same, or it is determined by, or the equality is determined at a point wherein the size of the income which the consumer is going to spend is going to be the determining factor. So here what I am going to do is that since my money income also has certain utility, or the money which I am going to spend also has certain utility, now I am going to achieve that equilibrium which I am talking about here. That means marginal utility of x to price of x and marginal utility of y to price of y, at a point where this ratio, marginal utility of x to price of x and marginal utility of y to price of y, will be equal to the marginal utility of money which I am going to spend. So this is how the equality is determined. The equality is determined by the size of the money income, and since my money also has certain utility, the consumer will go on purchasing goods X and Y until this equality is achieved. So this is how the equality between marginal utility of X to price of X, marginal utility of Y to price of Y, and marginal utility of money is determined. It also depends upon the size of money income, and in turn, since money has certain utility, it depends upon achieving this utility, and therefore the consumer will go on purchasing goods X and Y until this equality is achieved. This is the ideal equilibrium condition for consumers' equilibrium. Now here we are looking at a case of two goods. What if there are n number of goods? So this equality also holds true when there are n number of goods. That means the consumer will go on purchasing commodities or goods until this equality is achieved. That means this should be equal to marginal utility of n. This will go on until a point wherein marginal utility of good n divided by price of n will be equal to marginal utility of money per se. So this is how you can generalize the equilibrium condition of the consumer's equilibrium with the help of equimarginal utility. I hope the concept of equimarginal utility with the help of these examples wherein there is no equality and how this equality can be achieved is pretty much clear. Let us now move to the law of equimarginal utility, arithmetical explanation of the same. So here what I am looking at is, in the first column I am looking at the units of consumption, the second column I am looking at the marginal utility of good X, the third column is looking at the marginal utility of Y, the fourth column is looking at the ratio of marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. Why this ratio is important, we'll look at it now. So this is the first column, this is the second column, this is the third column, this is the fourth, and this is the fifth column. Now let us assume that the price of good X is rupees 2 per unit. Let us assume that the price of good Y is rupees 3 per unit and the consumer's money income is rupees 24. Now in a general condition where the prices of two goods are equal, mind you I am saying when the prices of two goods are equal, the consumer is always going to compare marginal utility of X to marginal utility of Y. He or she, in order to maximize, is going to compare this condition. Marginal utility of X should be equal to marginal utility of Y. But in our case, the prices of two goods are not same, and as a result of that, the consumer is now going to compare this ratio, marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. So now when the prices of two goods are not same, the consumer is going to compare this marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. When the prices are same, when the prices of two goods are same, the consumer is looking at or comparing marginal utility of X and marginal utility of Y only. And since our example the prices are different, we are more interested in this ratio, marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. This is what we are more interested in. So let us now look at our table. The first column is about units, second is marginal utility of X, third is marginal utility of Y, fourth is now looking at marginal utility of X to price of X. Now what is marginal utility of X? At first unit 20 divided by what is the price of X? Price of X is 2 per unit. So 20 divided by 2 gives me 10. Then 18 divided by 2 gives me 9. 16 divided by 2 gives me 8. 14 divided by 2 gives me 7. 12 divided by 2 giving me 6. And 10 divided by 2 giving me 5. So this is now looking at the ratio of marginal utility of X to price of X. I hope this column is pretty much clear how I have achieved this. Similarly, marginal utility of Y upon price of Y. Now the marginal utility of Y is given in third column. I am dividing each of these by the price of Y. Price of Y here is 3 rupees per unit. So 24 divided by 3 which is 8, 21 divided by 3 which is 7, 18 divided by 3 gives me 6, 15 divided by 3 gives me 5, 9 divided by 3 gives me 9, 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. So this is how I have achieved the fifth column in this table. I hope this is pretty much clear. Now I am saying the consumer, in order to maximize his satisfaction when the prices of two goods are different, is going to compare this ratio, marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. And the constraint is his money income. Okay, the constraint is his money income. Now, at what point we can see that the ratio of marginal utility of X and price of X and marginal utility of Y and price of Y is same, and is within my budget. When I'm consuming 6 units of good X, it is 5. Okay, at this point, when I'm consuming 6 units of good X, it is 5. I'll just encircle this. And it is also 5 when I'm consuming 4 units of commodity Y. Okay, so at this juncture. Okay, so now spending for equality, that is equality between marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y, these two conditions are really robust for us. Why? Because 6 multiplied by 2 is exhausting how many rupees? 12 rupees. That is, for 6 units of X, I am exhausting 6 units of X into 2 rupees per unit. 12 rupees I am exhausting from my 24 rupees of money income. And for this condition, which is 4 units of good Y, I am exhausting 4 multiplied by per unit price of Y is 3. That means I am also exhausting rupees 12. That means I am completely exhausting my money income 24. You will also argue that so at this point, when the good X is 5 units, the marginal utility of X to price of X is 6, and at this point, when the when the marginal utility of Y to price of Y is 6, I can consume 3 units of this. But this is not feasible for me given my money income, because what is happening is, at this point at 6, I am taking 5 units of good X. That means 5 into 2, which I will exhaust 10 rupees. Okay, and at this point it is similar, right? At this point wherein it is 3, so 3 into 3, 9. That means I am not fully spending my money income. Okay, I am not fully spending my money income. Therefore, this point is ideal point. That means 6 units of X and 4 units of Y is the ideal point wherein I am exhausting my entire income. And at this point, there is equality between these two. That means marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y. Now, that is the point from the table. When you see the marginal utility values of X at 6 units, X at 6 unit is this divided by price, which is 2, will give me 5. Here you can see I have given the condition. Okay, so here what is happening is, at 6 unit of X, marginal utility of X is 10, and here to achieve this, what we are doing is MUX by P of X. That means marginal utility of X divided by price of X. This means 10 divided by 2, I am getting 5. Similarly, I am looking at the next condition wherein 4 units. Okay, 4 units wala condition I am looking at. Marginal utility of Y at 4 units of Y is 15 divided by the price of Y, which is 15 divided by 3, which is equal to 5. So now you can say that the marginal utility of X to price of X and marginal utility of Y to price of Y is equal to 5, and this is how you achieve the equilibrium condition in case of prices being different and law of equimarginal utility is true in this sense. That means the marginal utility of X to price of X should be equal to marginal utility of Y to price of Y, and this is equal to 5. So this is how you achieve equilibrium arithmetically in case of law of equimarginal utility given the prices of two goods are different and the income of the consumer. I hope the concept of law of equimarginal utility is pretty much clear with the help of this class. Please stay tuned for more. Thank you.